All right, much respect to everybody. Good to see you out. Salute to my brother Showface. Showface, I watched you come all the way up. You've been working hard. When I say hard, I mean hard. Hey, bro, you've been going in, man. Oh man, the come up has been amazing. Keep up the good work. You know, I watch you. That's how I know what's going on in the community. You don't miss a beat, bro. I know how hard you're working. You know what I'm saying? So y'all go check out my brother Showface News if you want to keep up with what's going on out here. You know what I'm saying? That's the brother right. That's the man. So go check him out. You know what I'm saying? Hard working. If you want to know what's going on anywhere in the media, hey, you go check out Showface News. You will know immediately. If something happens at 12 o'clock, he'll be reporting on at 12:02. Am I lying, Showface? At 12:02, he live with the business. It's crazy. I said, how the hell he do this so fast? That's how I be knowing what's going on, brothers like that. Hey, it's crazy, bro. The man is working. Y'all don't understand how much these content creators like that be working. They be working, man. They be throwing on their clothes real quick, washing their face, brushing their teeth real quick, and jumping on live like serious. They stop everything. Sometimes they gotta wait till they eat. There's a fact. But Showface a trip, man. He ain't missing nothing, man. They need to get him a TV show. Well, not really. He do better on YouTube than on TV. YouTube is popping. So you all, I did this on K Solo, but I think I did a horrible job because I was too uh, angry. So I want to come back and do it in a way and really break things down. Okay. Now, let me let people get over here before I just start kicking it. But I'm going to say this again anyway. Uh, the reason the disrespect from the Busta Rhymes, the K Solo, and these people is because these are people that we did not know. First, we didn't know they wasn't foundational Black Americans. They talk like us, they walk like us, they rap like us, and you hear no accent. You know, they hide their accent. They basically do an imitation of foundational Black Americans. And so I never would have known that K Solo was anything different than me. I would have thought, hey, he's us. I would have thought Buster Rhymes is us. And even if they would have let us know later that they, know my parents from Barbados or, my parents is from Jamaica, that wouldn't have mattered. But the disrespect to their supporters is just egregious. Because foundational Black Americans are these people's supporters, so it's like disrespecting your fans. You know what I'm saying? Like I never turned the channel when K Solo used to come on. I used to check him out. I thought he was good. As a matter of fact, when Redman came out and he wasn't out that much, I'm like, why he not doing a lot of songs with Redman? 'Cause at the time I thought they was brothers, right? Right. So right here it says K Solo and Redman are not brothers in a family sense. They say K Solo is from New York and Redman is from New Jersey. I would have thought for sure they was brothers. They might as well be. But the thing is this. We didn't really care. We supported. And there's nothing worse than somebody making money off of you and then turning around and showing disrespect for you. Now, K Solo made a statement on the show with this brother named Bigger. And he was talking about Suge Knight. And he says, Suge Knight tried to act like Brutus on Popeye. And the reason Suge Knight got that bully type thing is because his mother's from Mississippi. And he says that we were raised by rednecks. He starts saying they. So he went from Suge Knight, and then he said Suge Knight's mother, which is crazy because he has a mother and a father, and he could take his characteristics from either one of them, or he could get those characteristics in the streets. Oh, like my mother, I'm nothing like my mother and father because I picked up characteristics in the streets. It had nothing to do with where my mother and father was from. It has everything to do with being born and raised in Chicago. You know, Suge is born and raised in Compton. And so I don't know what makes him think that he didn't adapt certain personalities in Compton, that it came from Mississippi, that didn't have no Bloods and no Crips. Okay? So when he started saying they, he kind of told on himself that in his mind we're a they. And as he didn't keep it on Suge, he went from Suge to Suge mother. Then he said, I'm an economist and I studied this. I don't know how you studied this in economy. But he's trying to say Black America is weird, all like Suge, basically. I mean, why did we all come up in a conversation about Suge's behavior? And he said, he said, they're like that because they come up in the South and we was raised by rednecks. Which is not true because slavery was over a long time and we was then in the South raising ourselves. So that's a little weird. Like he doesn't know the history. Like, no, my parents were not raised by rednecks and neither were my grandparents. As a matter of fact, slave owners didn't raise us. We still raised our own children. So it's like, well, why this guy got so much discontent? So I'm really disappointed with, I don't want to stereotype, but I kind of have to because I don't see Black immigrants saying anything to other Black immigrants, like chill that out. So that's suspicious. Now, the horrible thing about the Busta Rhymes and these people is that it got to a point where their parents decided to leave where they were at. So if he's talking about Suge Knight family coming from Mississippi and say they act like that because they was raised by hillbillies, wouldn't that apply to all Black Americans from Mississippi that was grew up in Mississippi? So he's trying to say that Suge Knight's family is the only one, because that doesn't make any sense for him to be able, because he don't know who raised Suge. He don't know where Suge Knight's mother came from. So it's definitely a stereotype. Because he said that's why they act like that. Does Suge Knight's mother act like Suge Knight? He said they. Okay, if he's talking about Suge's family, do he know if his mother is his mother a bully? If it's they, is his father a bully? Is his mother and father bloods? Then it's all be Dolo. Is Suge's mother and father anything like Suge? If that's who he's talking about. If you don't know, does he know? You say you don't know. Do you think he knows? And if he doesn't know, what do you think about his statement from that point of view? Because he doesn't know anything about Suge's mother. He went from Suge's behavior to Suge's mother. Like my behavior is only small elements from my parents. I created my own behavior. My daddy didn't shoot dice. My daddy didn't drink Wild Irish Rose. My mom and daddy don't got dreadlocks. My mom and daddy was never vegans. My mom and daddy still got a slave name. So at what point can you tie my behavior to my mother and father's? I had to create my own personality. My mother and father has nothing to do with my overall personality. They have to do with some of the ways I behave, but they don't have anything to do with how I behave. I picked which attributes I wanted to take from them and which ones I wanted to use on my own based on the streets or based on culture. Nothing about me comes from Alabama. I used to go to Alabama every year for 2 weeks, but what's 2 weeks out of a whole year in Chicago? And he said he learned it in some type of economy class that don't even know Suge Knight. So in some economy class, he learned. So you ain't listening, B. Dolo. He said that he learned in economy class that we act a certain type of way because we was raised by whites in the South. That's what he said. He got this from an economy class. He didn't get this ideology from looking at Suge Knight. And I guarantee you, it was a European taught him that. I guarantee you, no black person taught him that. We got the Kai Sinet guy. He says black Americans don't have no culture. DJ academics have said negative things about black Americans. Busta Rhymes, negative things about black Americans. And they say these things about the people that made them what they are. With no black American support, there is no Busta Rhymes. There is no K Solo. There is no Kais, and there's none of them. None of them are nothing without black Americans. And they use black Americans to build their fame, and then they let us know they hate us the whole time. He's quoting Thomas Sowell. But did Thomas Sowell listen to any of his music or buy any of his CDs? If he's from Barbados, did Barbados make him famous? And then the last question, is that safe? Is that smart to irritate us? I'm just asking for a friend. You think that's smart to irritate me like that? Who thinks that's smart? Who think that's smart when you're backstage in Chicago at a show? Who thinks that's smart? Any of y'all think that's safe, that's smart? So when you start talking about Suge's mother coming from Mississippi, this is where, okay, this is the disrespect. Not mind you, Suge's mother has passed away. Rest in peace, sir. See, this is where the disrespect come in. Because, we don't be talking about people's parents that passed away. So anytime you try to make a point that you got so much hate in your heart that you didn't even consider that Suge is in prison, his mother passed away, that shows you coming from a dark energy. If you had any type of positive energy, you wouldn't mention his mother. That's a problem. That's a problem in a lot of places. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. I don't know if you'll be cool if somebody mentioned your mama and talking about you when your mother passed away. Y'all cool with that? Any of you brothers over here cool with that? Your parents passed away, and I can mention your parents while I'm talking about you and say something derogatory about you and use your mother that passed away as an example. You cool with that? Who's cool with that? Let me see if there's any suckers over here. Who's cool with that? B Dolo, you'll be cool with that? If your mother passed away and I got a problem with you and I mentioned your mother? What, because you're so busy trying to trash foundational Black Americans that you emulated your whole career? That you rap like your mama and daddy from Alabama and Mississippi? You dress like your mama and daddy from Mississippi? You got rid of your accent? You didn't carry your accent? You rap like me, you talk like me, and you had me spend money with you because I thought you was just like me. I thought Busta Rhymes was just like me. I thought Biggie Smalls was just like me until I heard his mother talking. This is the ultimate betrayal. It's not like an African that come here and he's an African and he talk like an African and he dress like an African and he walk like an African and he eat like an African. Cool. But to come here and walk like a Black American, talk like a Black American, rap in perfect English like a Black American, and then later let us know that you never really liked us and that we never should have supported you and we probably should holler at you. That's another problem. It's like America's a funny place. These people don't understand foundational Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans is a very unique group of people because what you can say and get away with at one city, that might not work too well in a place like Chicago if the wrong person uh, uh, don't like you. In this city, if the wrong person don't like you, like that could really be a very serious, that could be a very serious problem. Suge Knight was a bodyguard that started a record label that was a product of his environment. And living in a city like LA or Chicago, you become what people call a gangster. It can happen in your 20s. It can happen in your 30s. In America, in some of these cities, it all depends on where you are in that city. What do you do? Who are you around a lot? And so you could be in one part of Chicago and come up one way. You could be in another part of Chicago and come up a different way. It depends on where you go to school at. It depends on what type of business you get into. It's a lot to that. It depends on what happened to you. We got, your son could get jumped one day in the 6th grade. And by the time he get in the sophomore, he won't be the same no more. He might turn a little rough. And it could all be from that, just getting jumped. It's a lot of psychology behind this. You understand? It's a lot of psychology behind it. I was young, I used to shoot dice and stuff like that, but I really got into black consciousness. And I was like into black consciousness. I was into black unity. I was into that, and I got stabbed. I had to learn how to walk. And then after I got stabbed and I learned how to walk, I was no longer that black conscious no more. I became a monster. I became dark. Period. I became in a way where it don't matter what you think about. I'm going to do you dirty. If you any type of threat or anything, I end up in the streets hustling. I always was hustling, but it got darker. I added more products to my repertoire of things I was selling, which put me around what kind of people. Then I got in trouble, and I spent 4 months in the county jail. You don't necessarily come out of there the same either. It's a matter of survival and adapting to your surrounding. I don't want to change my subject, Shimon. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about. I'm not. Have respect for the title. Read the title. What's the title, Shimon? So when I see this man say this about foundational Black Americans, I was highly upset because here's the thing. They say he's from Barbados. Now, if he is from Barbados and his parents left Barbados and brought him here, my question to him is, if foundational Black Americans was so bad, why would your parents bring you here? If foundational Black Americans are so bad, why would your parents come here from Africa? Why would your parents come here from Jamaica? Why would your parents come here from Trinidad? Why are your parents and grandparents coming here if foundational Black Americans are so bad? When the reality is your parents are coming here because foundational Black Americans are the number one role models for Black people globally. Because foundational Black Americans are Muhammad Ali. Because for our foundational Black Americans are Aretha Franklin, the Jackson 5. That's why you came here. His parents came here because of our greatness. Africans come here because of our greatness. They're not coming here because of white people. They're coming over here because they've seen that Black people could do well. They've seen, regardless of the color of your skin, you could be Muhammad Ali, you could be Michael Jackson. That's why they came here. He came here because of us. Steve Biko is a nobody over here. Nobody cares about Steve Biko. Who is that? I know who he is, but nobody cares nothing about Steve Biko. Black Foundational Black Americans, we don't give a damn about Steve Biko. We're not paying no attention to Africa. We over here trying to get money, trying to take care of our children. I speak for all foundational Black Americans, not the few that's Pan-Africans. Pan-African Black Americans is a minority of Black Americans. When you go to family reunions and stuff like that, ain't no Black people talking about none of that. If you go to a family reunion in Mississippi, you go to a family reunion in Alabama, you go to a family reunion in Chicago, my relatives ain't talking about none of that. Our parents ain't talking about no Africans. We talking about is what we doing as foundational Black Americans. We not paying attention to none of y'all. We ain't paying no attention to the Caribbean. We ain't paying no attention to none. I do, but I'm the minority in my family. I'm the one out of hundreds. Black Americans have never been pro-Black internationally. Black Americans have always been struggling against a white man in America, Stanley. We have our own struggle. Okay? We Rosa Parks. We MLK. We've been fighting here, bro. We ain't in Africa. And Africans ain't did a damn thing for us. Ain't no Africans came here and done nothing, helped us in not one struggle. So this whole thing, Stanley, where you want Black Americans to speak for everybody, but don't none of them ever speak for us. You know where you can stick that, right, Stanley? Because don't nobody speak for us. All our fights, we got to fight them by ourselves. Ain't no Africans helping us do nothing. Ain't no Caribbeans helping us do nothing. Every fight I had at mixed schools with whites, it was just foundational Black Americans knuckling up. You ain't never stood next to me in not one war here. Period. You eat here. You come move separate here. And if you can make some money out of me, you'll come close to my neighborhood and sell your African clothes and your little Jamaican food. You'll sell me your jerk chicken. But when the whites was chasing us home from school, well, no Africans there. When we had to sit on the back of the bus, how many Africans helped Rosa Parks? The fact is, you showed up in the 70s after the smoke was over. You waited until we went through the war. You waited until we won the war. You waited till we became politicians and great athletes in the 70s, and that's when you came. You never came over here when it was smoke. We spoke up against apartheid, but South Africans never spoke up for us. Never. We was Pan-Africans. But Africans was never pro us. That's why we ain't Pan-African. That's why I don't fuck with Africa no more. because I'm tired of standing up for Africa. And then Africans want to call me names. My sister went to Kenya and they called her Ferengi. They called her Ferengi. Broke her heart. She left. She moved back. She came back to Hawaii. Broke her heart. They called her Ferengi. They call you a kata. They don't even like us. They just coming over here to eat off our plate. That's it. They just come to eat off of us. They have no respect. They try to disrespect us in our homeland because this is our homeland. We ain't been in Africa how long? We've been in America since the 1700s. We've been generations and generations over here. We've got no connection to no damn Africa. None. I got zero connection to Africa. Okay? I don't give a damn what they got, Stanley. When you got to feed your children and pay your bills, what the hell are you thinking about Africa? Bro, I'm in the real world. I ain't on this internet world, Stanley. We got to get up every day. We got to feed our bills, pay our bills, feed our children, survive right here in Chicago, right in LA, right in New York, right in Texas. Okay? So we're not getting up in the morning thinking about across no water that's not going to pay no bills, that's not going to pay no car insurance, or none of that. So that whole stuff is fake. That's fake. The African stuff, all that's fake and phony. Even the brothers that talk that is phony. Like Dr. Umar is a Pan-African and can't open the school, but took all the money from foundational Black Americans to open the school and didn't open the school. But he's a super Pan-African and he never panned his ass to Africa. When is he going to go to Africa? How long can you be a Pan-African and don't go? Nobody in Africa got these lights on. Nobody in Africa got this computer. Nobody in Africa buying none of these clothes or none of that. Africa's doing nothing for me. The only Black people that help me is foundational Black Americans. Okay? All right? So my question again is, he says that our violence and our brutality come from us being raised by rednecks. That's what he said. That's what he said. Okay. If that's true, what's up with this? In 2024, Barbados experienced a significant increase in its homicide rate, reaching 17.7 per 100,000 people, a substantial rise from the previous year. The country recorded at least 50 murders in 2024, compared to 21 in 2023. This increase is partially attributed to the collapse of a peace agreement between rival gangs, leading to a spike in violence and planned attack. Now, their mamas must be from Mississippi. Their mamas must, according to K Solo, their mamas, listen, this is what you must understand, Stanley. That I don't care what you talking about. I don't got to understand nothing. Keep our names out your African mouth, out your Barbados mouth or whatever, and go do what you do. You don't see us running to Africa disrespecting Africans, okay? And if you brainwashed, talking crazy about us ain't necessarily the best thing for your brain. Okay? So if you want to suck up to them, Stanley, bye. Go watch some Africans and stop talking to me before you upset me. And I start disrespecting you, Stanley. I'm going to ask you one time. Don't come over here trying to tell me nothing about how I should think. I'm a grown-ass man. And I've been pro-Pan-African before you was born. I done had my dreadlocks. It's probably older than you. And Pan-Africanism and standing up for Africa has been a total waste of time. And I'm not doing it no more. The hell with Africa. I'm not doing it. So don't come over to me that's been pro-Africa before you was born, bro. I'm going to get back to this. Let me straighten this dude out. Do you understand who you talking to? Bro, you're not even Pan-African. You got a slave name. So on the principles of of being pro-black, you're not even that standing. You're a bootleg because you're still carrying a European name. So we never would have respected you as nothing African anyway. There's nothing pro-Africa about you. You're a Negro trying to talk some fake African shit. That's another reason I don't do Pan-Africanism, because a lot of people like you, Stanley, show up for a few years and disappear. They ain't really standing on nothing, doing the fake African stuff, and you ain't even about that life. Because if you loved Africa, then you should be over there and stop talking to me and go to Africa and talk to them. If you love Africa, what you talking to me for? Stop talking to me, bro. I don't got to understand nothing. I know everything about Africa. I know more about Africa than you, bro. That's a fact. That's why my name's Pharaoh. That's my real name. My real name is Pharaoh El-Aton. I really got a comedic name. Boy, I've been that. Okay? You see that Africa around my neck? When I'm 21, 22 years old? And what did I benefit from that? Nothing. The Africans didn't even respect Pan-Africans. The Africans never joined no Rastas or no Pan-African brothers. They don't respect no Marcus Garvey or nothing like that. Man, the hell with Stanley. I'm going to block him in a minute. I don't want to talk to dude. Africans ain't even Pan-Africans. They don't even like each other. Africans ain't Pan-Africans. Africans ain't even Africans. There's no such thing as Africans. They Ghanaian. And they ain't even Ghanaian. They whatever tribe they are. There's no such thing as Ethiopians. Rasta thought there was Ethiopians. There's no such thing as Ethiopians. And them Rastas went over to Africa, and the Africans tore up they bulldozed they set up in Shashamani. Go study. The brethren went to Africa, to Shashamani, the Haile Selassie gave to black people, and the Aroma tribe got bulldozers and bulldozed down them black brothers and sisters that returned to Africa. This is a fact. Bulldozed them. Hold on, and I'm going to get back to what I was talking about. bulldozed them. Hold on. Hold on. Coming over here talking stupid. Bro, shut up talking to me. Y'all look at this. Look. Recent reports from March 2025 mentions the Rastafarian in Shashamane, Ethiopia, have been facing evictions and potential arrests, particularly for displaying the flag of the former Ethiopian Empire under Haile Selassie. This is happening in the context of ethnic insurgency in the Oromia region, where the Oromo people claim marginalization. These events suggest a challenging situation for the Rastafarian community in Shashamane. Once again, Ethiopia's dwindling Rastafari community. Nobody want to hear that fake African shit. Okay? I rest my case. He would have just lost the debate. It would have been over. Okay? The Aroma in Ethiopia don't like the Amhara. The Amhara don't like the Tigrayan. They got 3 different flags in Ethiopia. They ain't even under the Ethiopian flag. And then they even got rid of their original flag and got some old ugly flag. They got rid of the Lion of Judah and put up a peacock because they some birds. I'm not wasting my life dreaming about no Africa. I'm not teaching my children to dream about no Africa while we over here and Africans running their ass over here and turning up their nose. Africans don't even speak to us in America. Why would I go over there? These black immigrants is haters. They don't even love themselves. They definitely don't love us. Because a rapper that was rapping on BET to foundational black Americans should have never come out. Why would he come out and disrespect his fan base? And say that we violent because we was raised by hillbillies doing slavery. Yet in Barbados, in 2024, Barbados experienced a significant increase in its homicide rate, reaching 17.7 per 100,000 people, a substantial rise from the previous year. The country recorded at least 50 murders in 2024, compared to 21 in 2023. This increase is partially attributed to the collapse of the peace agreement between rival gangs, leading to a spike in violence and planned attacks. So K-Solo, why y'all in Barbados tripping and unaliving each other? Y'all wasn't in slavery here. Is it because y'all was picking were cutting sugar cane and was slaves in Barbados? Is that why? Significant increase. The murder rate in Barbados more than doubled in 2024. Number of homicides. Barbados recorded 50 unalivings in 2024 compared to 21. Contributing factors, the collapse of the gang, right? The Caribbean. Y'all don't get this work. Gang violence in the Caribbean is a serious and escalating issue, with several countries experiencing a surge in gang-related crime, particularly in urban areas. Factors like drug trafficking, weapon proliferation, and the breakdown of social structures contribute to the problem. This violence has a significant impact on communities, leading to high murder rates and displacement, and the whole Caribbean. So do not come over to a United States from Africa or wherever you're from talking sideways about us when your house is dirtier than ours, and your situation is worse than ours. Period. Haiti. More than 5,600 people killed in Haiti gang violence in 2024. Oh, I guess that's because their parents was raised in Mississippi by rednecks, according to K Solo. According to K Solo, it's because their parents was raised in Mississippi by rednecks. According to K Solo. According to K Solo. According to K Solo. According to K Solo. Oh, the Africans' parents must have been raised by rednecks. Yeah, the Africans. The Africans in Africa, according to K Solo, must have been raised down South America by rednecks. That's why they violent. That's why Africa is a hellhole. If you don't want to listen, come back tomorrow. I already told you. I don't know, some of that stuff. You probably never met me because I spent a lot of time in Hawaii and I spent a lot of time in LA. So I left here when I was young and I went to LA. And I was in LA, David. And then I lived in Hawaii for a lot of years. Then I came back, I lived in LA. And then when I came back to Chicago, it was a whole new era. Nobody was really outside like that. And I was just in the car. I wasn't outside. I was in the car driving around, whipping blocks. And you know what I'm saying? So that whole outside era was over before I got back. Now, if I would have stayed here, because I didn't get back till my 30s, if I would have stayed here my whole 20s, you would have probably met me. But when we most outside, I wasn't here. Because we most outside, from 19 on. But in my early 20s, I left. So when everybody else was outside in their 20s, I wasn't here. I was in Hawaii, up in the mountains, and I was in LA. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. All I know is this. K Solo is disrespectful, has no respect for his fan base. And him and this brother, neither one of them is foundational Black Americans. So it's a situation where these Black immigrants came here and they were scary. They were scared and they imitated us. Then they stayed here so long and so many kept coming that they got cocky. And now they're not mad at us. They're mad at the fact that they had to be scary and they had to pretend they was us. So now They tired of pretending they us and they taking it on us. Nobody told K Solo not to just stay a Bayesian and just stand on Bayesian business. He the one that weaked out and pretended he was me. Pretended he was a foundation of Black America. That's him. Want to rap like us, act like us, and move like us. Because hip hop ain't no Bayesian culture and ain't no African culture. That's foundational Black American art form. 100%. Ain't no Puerto Rican either. Puerto Ricans ain't got no swag. Ain't nobody gonna listen to no Puerto Ricans. They still don't know how to dress. That's us to bring all that over here. That Africans and Europeans and Hispanics and Asians, they all take what we do. They all take from foundational Black Americans. Because by us being descendants from somewhere else and coming in, we had to create a culture. We the only group that create a culture. The Italians came and brought Italian culture with them. The Germans came and bought their culture. Everybody bought the Irish, bought their beer and bought their stuff. But we was displaced and we was slaves. And our name and our language and our heritage was stolen from us. So when we got free, we had to recreate all of this. We had to recreate a culture. And then when we recreated a culture, we became more powerful than all of them. We became the stone that the builder refused, became the head cornerstone. So then the hate set in. It went from admiration to hate. That's what it went from. It went from admiration to hate. Because back in their country, everybody loved us and they hated it. In Africa, they hated that everybody loved Muhammad Ali. They hated that everybody loved the Jackson 5, Diana Ross. They hated it. A lot of Africans hated it. So now that hate is coming out. The worst person is a person that's jealous of you, of a person that's trying to be like you. You can see that with your own friends. You ever had a friend, ladies, and you dress better and everything? And when you go out to a party, she come and you let her wear some of your clothes. You try to teach her to dress like you. And when you go, all the boys like you and don't like her, how she end up acting? She blame you, but it ain't your fault the boys like you. You can't make the boys like you. So now instead of her respecting the fact you trying to bring her up in the game, she turned on you. But she wore your clothes. She ate off your plate. That's Africa. Africa ain't never stood up for us. We always stood up for Africa. That's why that dude come over here talking to me. Black Americans, we was the one that stood up for Winnie Mandela. That's why Nelson came down to New York right away. We were the ones that made African music popular. We was the one bought UMass Kayla and all of them. I got the albums. We bought their music and everything. We had brothers like Gil Scott-Heron speaking up for Africa. The Jamaicans spoke up for Africa, but the Africans ain't never spoke up for Jamaica. What do Africa do for Jamaica? And Rastas put Africa on their back. And what has Africa ever done for Jamaicans? Nothing. Not a thing. You don't just got to take Black Americans. Rastas and reggae music represented Africa to the max. And Africa did nothing for their brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. You would think that Marcus Garvey being like one of the biggest people in Pan-Africanism, you would think that all Africa would have pictures and monuments of Marcus Garvey. No. Africa don't respect Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey spoke for Africa, but Africa never spoke for Marcus Garvey. When Marcus Garvey was released out of prison, one of them African presidents should have went and got him and gave him some money and set him up. They didn't give him nothing. Marcus Garvey died in Europe. Africa didn't do nothing. Same thing for Rastas, too. The Jamaicans did Black Americans the same way Africans did them. Reggae music wouldn't have been shit if it wasn't for Black Americans. Reggae music didn't pop until the 80s when Black Americans started listening to it. When Black Americans started coming to the concerts, I know, I worked at concerts. We the ones blew reggae up. That's a fact. Foundational Black Americans are the ones that put reggae on the map. Because Bob Marley and them was performing for all white audience, and they didn't put reggae on no map. We the ones. When Tom Joyner and them started playing Bob Marley on the black radio station, and when black people started going to the reggae shows in the 80s, that's what put reggae on the map. That's what put Rasta on the map. Rasta wouldn't have been shit without foundational Black America. That's a fact. This is in the 80s. Some of y'all too young to know that. We the ones blew it up. By the time you got from the 80s to the late 90s, Clark Street that had the wild hair and had the Exodus was the number one party street in Chicago. Because all the Black Americans was down there going to the reggae club, going to the wild hair, and going to the Exodus. That's a fact. Ask anybody. As soon as you get down there, you see black people all up and down the street at the reggae. At one point in Black American history, reggae was the number one. That's why they put Caribbean rhythms on BET. That's why they put Caribbean rhythms on BET, and that's why they were showing Bob Marley on BET. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. Anybody tell you the wild hair stayed packed and the Exodus was across there, they had to have two clubs. First, it was only the wild hair. Then we had the Metro. We had turned that into a place, but that didn't stay open. Because the Metro used to be a reggae spot. We had a club, we had the concerts upstairs, the reggae concerts upstairs, and we had Cool Runnings in the basement of the Metro. We designed it. As a matter of fact, we designed it. Ross's in Chicago designed the club. Now it's the Metro. Everything I'm saying is fact. Everything I'm saying, people are back up. But more and more Jamaicans started coming, and they wasn't no Pan-Africans, they was Jamaicans. And they started looking down on us. The same Black Americans that built that for them, they turned on us. This the club in the basement right here. I took a picture because we had just got through fixing it up. This before I went to Hawaii when I was a shorty. It was called Cool Runnings. This was downstairs of the Metro, and the upstairs was called Stages. It was called Stages Music Hall, and downstairs it was this club called Cool Runnings. There I go right there. I'm in my young 20s. Facts. Absolute facts. Wild Hair, I played reggae in there live with Nyakoma Reggae Band. I was on stage at the Wild Hair all the time. And that went nowhere because when reggae started blowing up and more Jamaicans came over here, they started calling us Yankee. They wasn't standing on no Marcus Garvey or none of that. They was not no Africans. They was just Jamaicans. And they killed the movement because they was talking Africa, but they was Jamaicans. And they wanted everybody to say they was Africans, but they wouldn't say they was Africans. So black Americans, we were like, well, why should I stop calling myself a black American and call myself an African? But you still call yourself a damn Jamaican. You still waving the Jamaican flag. So the Jamaicans never put down the Jamaican flag. They stayed Jamaicans. So then that's when black Americans seen that their Pan-Africanism was phony. Not only did they stay Jamaicans, among a lot of the Rastas chased European women. Wouldn't even talk to black women. So the whole Rasta movement from Jamaica was fraudulent. Okay? It was fake and it was fraud. They wasn't standing on no black. They was just Jamaican hippies. That's a fact. Every show I went to, sisters would come to me and say, when they hear my voice, this is a fact. When I be at the reggae show and I be outside talking, and the foundational black American women hear me talking, they would run up to me. That was the king for our people. And the sisters would run up to me and they would ask me the same question. Hey, brother, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Chicago. Oh, cool. Can I ask you something? I say, yeah. Why all the rosters is with white girls? That's what they used to ask me every time. And I tried to tell sisters, not all of them. I tried to, you know what I'm saying? Try to clean it up. This is all fact. You can't make this up. When the foundational black American women heard me talking at the reggae clubs, they would run up to me and ask me, why the Jamaican rosters always be with white women? And they ran the sisters away. Black women stopped coming to the reggae clubs because the black Jamaican Pan-African rosters didn't like black women. They liked white women. That's why reggae crashed. And then they turned Batman and all that, and they shot up all the clubs, and they all got deported. They deported thousands of Jamaicans, been got deported because they wasn't standing on no righteousness or nothing like that. They killed the movement because they just was Jamaicans. They was selling Pan-Africanism, but they wasn't on that. So now the new thing as a Jamaican was to hide your accent and rap like Biggie Smalls and rap like you me. Busta Rhymes and all. They started rapping like they was us. Facts. The only one stood on business and was a proud Jamaican was Shinehead. Shinehead stayed what he was, but the rest of them, they sold out. They started pretending they me. That go for K Solo. He was never from Barbados. He was always a fake African American. What's up, Sister April? Always. He never was stood on what he was like that. And all of a sudden for him to come out and be disrespectful like that, it's like, bro, you ain't even have to do that. All you had to do just be who you are. All you got to do is you from Jamaica, just be that. If you're from the Virgin Islands, just be that. Ain't nobody going to say nothing. But then, don't come to the United States and then try to pretend you us and then turn around and start disrespecting us. What did we do to K Solo? For him to say we act a certain kind of way because we was raised by rednecks. Trying to disrespect slavery. When slavery started in the Caribbean. You don't even know the history. Slavery started from the Caribbean and worked its way up. Slavery started with the sugar cane. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know why people be disrespecting us. We got enough problems. You would think that our brothers and sisters around the world, they would rally around us. They would be like, listen, no matter what nobody say, foundational Black Americans was the one furthest removed from nature. If they took you as a slave and took you to the Caribbean, at least you still had coconuts. At least you still had an ocean. At least you still had African type weather. We end up in Detroit, Chicago. We end up in snow. Ain't no coconuts up here. I had to straighten out some Jamaicans and let them know, bro, stop playing. Haitians too. It ain't no coconuts up here. I'm where Bob Marley was talking about. I'm the place Bob Marley was talking about. When Bob Marley say, no sun will shine in my day today. They say, concrete jungle, where the living is hardest. Where you think the concrete jungle's at? That's America. Bob was singing about America. Because Bob Marley was working up here. His mother bought him. He lived in Baltimore for a while. But he got something in his eye, almost lost his eye. So he went back to Jamaica. But Bob was up here. He know. Black people all over the world should respect foundational Black Americans. We in the belly of the beast. All other Black people are controlled from a distance. Brothers and sisters in Jamaica, they got puppets there. Black puppets control you, and the Europeans control you from England and from France. Africa, they got Black puppets there, and the Europeans control them from Europe. And America, the people that control us is right here. They not in Europe. They in Washington, D.C. They in all these state capitals. They're not far like they are for y'all. We don't got no Black puppets. We're controlled directly by Donald Trump and his administration. Right here. It's head on with the struggle here. Period. This is the hardest struggle. Period. Black people in Africa and the Caribbean, they wouldn't last one hard winter in Chicago. A lot of them would go home. There ain't hardly no Venezuelans here after a couple of winters, and those wasn't even the hard winter. Wait till we get that 22 below and stuff. It ain't going to be a Venezuelan nowhere. Blacks in Europe is like right there being controlled, but they run to Europe from Africa. And so when you run somewhere, you not me. We just woke up here. We was drug over here. So ain't no nigga that ran from his homeland don't respect we got. We didn't run from Africa. We didn't run from Jamaica. We the only ones didn't run. They had to chain us up and drag us over here. The rest of y'all ran. Y'all be running. You be running from your homeland like the punk Mexicans. They running from Mexico instead of standing and fixing their own country. And then want to come up here looking at me crazy. We never ran from here. We never ran. When the chains came off, we fought. We fought. And we didn't tear up our cities like the Haitians. Our neighborhoods is nice. The only reason our neighborhoods ain't better is because the Europeans won't fund them. They take all our tax dollars and fund they shit. But you ain't gonna see us running around like in Haiti. You ain't gonna see that. You ain't gonna see us tear up everything like Haiti. You ain't gonna see that. They ran to France. Them niggas parlez-vous français. They not us. Nah. They ran to France while France taking everything from West Africa. And they paying France. You know how much money Africa is paying France? Punking out. I'm just saying. There, go right there. 10 African countries still paying France colonial tax. Still paying France. 10 countries paying France billions. Former French colonies are still paying colonial tax. 500 billion. Them West Africans come over here with their chests all in the air. Them Nigerians. Nigerians come over here with their chests in the air. And them people that went down there and took all their oil from them and left oil everywhere. And you come over here from Nigeria with your chest all poked out in the air, and they over in Nigeria punking you in your own land. We ain't even in our own land. You in your own land.